Is it okay? Happy Deathiversary, sort of. I mean, Sad Deathnight. Come up here. Sad Deathnight, everyone. It's not Sad Deathnight anymore. That was yesterday. But you know, with the pattern that we're doing this, I am doing the Sad Deathnight video today. I say today as if I am going to upload this today. I don't know, maybe I will. But like, I haven't uploaded 7. I didn't upload 7 on Sad Deathnight, which is when I was supposed to, because I was just high, man. I didn't want to, basically. Hey, don't do that. Anyways, we decided what happened. See, what had happened is we saw the new trailer, the second trailer for Sitting on the Edge of Battle, which is a stupid name. Kasen Kidozo Shokutoshi, right? The new Godzilla movie that comes out. That's out today, I think, in Japan, because I think it's... I mean, if they had a midnight show, it would be out already. Anyway, so there's... Mechagodzilla's not in the goddamn trailer. Again, how... And Kira said... Do they have Mechagodzilla in any of the trailers for the other Mechagodzilla movies? And you know what? They do, actually. He's in the trailer for every single movie Mechagodzilla is in, except for the last Godzilla movie, which he was only in as like a little cameo at the beginning. Which makes sense, given the context. So I was like, sure they do. And I was going to prove it by looking up the trailer to King Kong and Frankenstein, which, if you don't know, is the German title of Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. The original one. And, why is it that I only start doing this when I record a video? I never do this when we're just talking. I'm always, like, swallowing my own air or whatever the fuck is going on. God, I'm so broken. Anyways, the trailer doesn't seem to be anywhere. But when I was looking for it, and looking all around after the joke, it's like, the joke was going to be that, yeah, Mechagodzilla's in this trailer and he's not even in this movie because it's about King Kong. Or maybe the joke would have been, yeah, this is a movie with King Kong in it and he's in the trailer. See? Just kind of not... They actually call... His name isn't King Kong in the movie. They just obliquely refer to him as King Kong as an adjective. His name is Konga. And that doesn't mean that he has... As far as I can tell, that doesn't mean he has King Kong's brain. But he is simply named Konga. I don't know. See, the thing is, German Godzilla movies are absolutely fascinating to me. And it used to be that everyone... back in the 90s, the thought was... People just assumed that they dubbed it over so that or added new footage or something. I remember distinctly hearing in the 90s from some Godzilla website that they added their own new footage of Dr. Frankenstein and shit, like to make it more like to change the plot. But as I understand it today, my most up-to-date information, which still comes from not having seen a single one of the movies. It's all the international versions that they dubbed over word for word into German, except they didn't dub it over word for word because they changed a few things. And it's more minor than you think it would be, apparently, but it is real and it is there, and it really makes me want to see these damn German Godzilla movies. I have a real big thing for German Godzilla movies. In fact, the 2 languages that I want to learn most of all are Japanese and German, and both of them are so I can watch Godzilla movies, which gives you probably a good idea about what my priorities are in life. Mm-hmm. 1 Godzilla, 2 Bondage, and then Shoes, Booze, and something else in no particular. What's the other thing?
Something else.
Shoes and Booze? Like, what else do you need in life other than Godzilla, Bondage, Shoes, and Booze, you know? Like, what else to life is there? That's pretty much it, man. I think a lot of nerds would probably add video games to that, but, like, why do I give a shit what nerds think? Oh, because my boyfriend's one. That's why. Okay, so anyways, we were looking it up, and there's these really nice steel books that I really want. There's 5 German Godzilla movies that are done as steel books, and I know from reading G-Fan in the past that these German DVDs are just like top-notch stuff, and they come with the original Japanese Godzilla movie and German subtitles probably. Also, I don't know if I should. That's not really pertinent to anything. I was just thinking, like when I say German Godzilla movies, I specifically mean West German Godzilla movies. Because all of the good ones that had Frankenstein and Hell Hollenbrutes and King Kongs added where there weren't any, those are all from when it was West Germany. But that's like kind of sad to talk about. Anyways. I don't know. I just almost said West Germany and I felt like the need to explain it, and then I felt sad that I probably shouldn't have, but I don't know. When I'm not recording a video, I just say West German, so whatever. Because I love history. Anyways, so we were looking up to see if we can find any of these movies on eBay and what kind of prices they're going to run us. And Kara found this one description, which is why I suddenly just start filming this so that we get more of our live reaction to it because it's hilarious. It is some sort of translated version of the... Did you auto-translate this or something?
No, that's just
Okay.
That's just in the description.
This is a translation that the person who put up the description has done themselves. Okay, and so this is for the West German version of... I did it again. of Hedorah, which is called Frankenstein's Kampf gegen die Teufelmonster, which means Frankenstein's struggle against the Hell Beast, or the Hell Monster, or the Devil Monster? It's Devil Monster. Teufel is devil, sorry. So Frankenstein's Kampf gegen die Teufelmonster, which is, yeah, okay. So the description here is Frank Stone, with a C, not a K, fight against the Teufelmonster. And so when Kara introduced this to me, she said, Frank Stone fight against the Teufelmonster. And in my head, it will always be Frank Stone fight against the Teufelmonster. It's not misspelled. It does say Teufelmonster here. It's just Kara didn't understand that, and she said Teufelmonster, and I thought that was the funniest thing in the world. Shouldn't I be talking about the movies I watched yesterday? Yeah, maybe, but I'll get to it in a minute. This is more important. 2 DVD box, limited steelbook edition, 1971, 96 minutes. Languages German and Japanese. Caption subtitle German. Japan sinks into the garbage. I've heard of the sinking of Japan, but this is ridiculous. Japan sinks into the garbage. The air is foul. Out of the toxic mud of civilization gets out of a monster that pushing out humanity is threatened, caustic sludge, and toxic gases. The small Ken recognizes, not the big Ken, the small Ken recognizes the danger, as well as his father, Dr. Yano. When the people of helplessness persist, they find an ally in Godzilla, as the endangered Earth is also the home of the famous radioactive dinosaur. Which sounds silly, but is totally accurate. And we shouldn't be laughing at it, because that's a good sentence, and they did a good job.
Good job, good job.
Bonus, Japan sinks into the garbage. Japan sinks into the garbage. That really was the best part, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The cool part is, as long as we get the DVDs of these, it's cool. Because computers aren't region locked. Our Blu-ray player, I think, is probably region locked.
Maybe.
Yeah, but not our computer. We can play whatever the fuck we want on our computer. And we do. I think we have 4. No, wait, hold on. Because Tokyo Mega, that's multiple ones. 1, 2, 3, and then that one is 2 discs, I believe? Or 4 discs. Well, we bought 4 things that are of questionable production. They're not produced in the US. I think they're produced in like the Philippines or some Southeast Asian place that has a English speaking population. And that is, oh my god, is Iria Chinese? Is my copy of the Zeram cartoon in Chinese?
I don't know.
Because there's not like any English on that box. I think it's all kanji. There's a lot of English speaking going on in China. Anyways, we have this, by the way, all cartoons. All cartoons. The Zeram cartoon, the Kato Yasunori cartoon, Doomed Megalopolis, and the Madoka Magica series, and the Madoka Magica movies. And all of these things we got from, like, I got my 2 from Before I Met Kira, which are the 2 monster movies, of course. From, yeah, your battery's dying. We're done with that. Japan sinks into the garbage. I got both of mine from a little anime store in Houston. And I went there and I was like, hey, there's cartoons I want that are monster movies. Which were, you know, there's Super Atragon. I asked for Digimon, which they couldn't give me anything on. And then The Last Megalopolis and Iria. Zeram the animation. And then Kira really, really loves Madoka Magica, so we got them. And we went and looked for them on, what was it? Amazon. I'm not high right now. I think I'm just like, I haven't eaten or anything yet, so I'm like kind of low energy and like my brain hasn't fully started yet. But yeah, we got some technically region capable DVDs, but they're from like weird places. But they're cool and good and fine and they work perfectly. And so they're like fun. It's like international Cokes, you know? It's the same thing, but they're like fun and interesting. They're like interesting versions of something. And which is a hell of a lot better than paying like actually literally $300 fucking dollars for the Funimation or something US Blu-ray. It's like a giant fold out playset, like a giant Barbie fucking castle, which, don't get me wrong, is cool as hell, but like for $300, man, that's too much. And also we heard bad things about the actual stuff on the DVD, like it was cut, like there was an American cut version, and like it had the dub, and I've heard a little bit of the dub of Madoka Magica, and it is atrocious. It's like just whiny nasally children. It's so bad. Anyways, and that's coming from someone who for years and years and years never gave a shit about whether cartoons were dubbed or subbed. And I say cartoons because I'm not a weeaboo, and I only watch Japanese cartoons if there's giant robots or Digimon or Godzilla's in them. Mm-hmm. So the only ones I know about are like Voltron, and I watched Voltron when I was little, and I watched Digimon when I was a little older, and I watched Doomed Megalopolis and Super Atragon and Iria when I was a little older than that. So I guess technically I do watch cartoons that are made in Japan. Fuck! The new Godzilla movie's a cartoon that was made in Japan. But like...
That's right.
Yeah. So it's weird because I can like get along with weeaboos because like... I don't... Well, they're kind of... The ones I find irritating are the ones that have like no awareness and like they genuinely believe that they do know a good deal of Japanese, and like it's the kind of people who make fan subs but who include notes like asides about Japanese culture as if I'm gonna sit there and fucking read it. just translate the goddamn thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it has to be a real specific situation for them to, like, go through the trouble. And because when it's not, it comes off as condescending. Like, oh, well, this is a Japanese festival that people celebrate. So here's some things and here's the context, so now you understand it. Like, bitch, I know!
But
you know what I mean?
Look that stuff up.
Yeah, and the other thing is, you can, even if you don't know, you can look it up. Like, the stuff is so irritating. Thank God that the people who do fan subs for tokusatsu shows like Power Rangers and Ultraman aren't like that. But like the ones who do like, you know, like anime, like with the little girls in the pretty dresses, right? Mm-hmm. Those people, oh boy, I don't know. But Kara likes all the cute ones, so that's what we watch. We watch the cute ones, like Girl Club. What is it? Hero Club. Where everyone eats udon because it has lots of girl power in it, so they get all their girl power to fight the angels.
Yeah, Yuki Yuna.
Yeah. Oh, we watched all of Evangelion too, and we liked that mostly. I tried to get through Evangelion, but then I stopped when it got to, what's the name of that girl with the red hair? Asuka? Yeah. So we had to stop. I had to stop then because it took everything that I liked about the show and dumped it down the drain. But me and Kara, we watched it when we were in vacation in Houston last year, and we pushed past the horrible Asuka stuff and got through to the other side, and it was worth it. We didn't see the rebuild ones, but yeah, pretty cool. I can see why people lump that in with Godzilla, Gamera, and Ultraman, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely pretty cool. It definitely has the same thing going with it as Godzilla, where it's very, 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 very not subtle. But it's even less subtle than Godzilla, because what they'll do is they'll just stop the show. They'll just stop it. They'll bring it to a halt, and they'll write on the screen the thesis of the episode. They will just straight up write on there with lettering, and you won't be looking at a show. You'll just be looking at someone's essay, and they're just telling you all about what the show's about and how you should feel and what the theme is. And it's just a little condescending, a little bit pretentious, but considering that I watch, you know, Godzilla movies, which is all a bunch of heavy, big issue, anti-war stuff, you know, man is a far worse monster than Godzilla. Considering, like, that's the thing that I love, it doesn't really bother me that much. It's just a little bit surprising, I guess. I don't know. So that's just stuff we were thinking about, and that's just my tangents. Let's actually talk about what happened for Sad Deathnight, Deathiversary 2018. Well, so we had this list, and the list included Godzilla in Hell and Attack of the Galactic Monsters as bonuses, as well as the last three Godzilla movies, 28, 29, and 30, talking about Godzilla Final Wars, Shin Godzilla, and Godzilla Planet of the Monsters. Now, I didn't make a playlist for this for a couple reasons. One is, I do have a digital version of Shin Godzilla, but it is quite literally poop.
Ew.
I got this thing before the DVD came out, right? And it was just a torrent that I got of Shin Godzilla with subbed. And you start it up, right? And the first subtitle it says is poop. And it just says poop throughout, like, the opening title. It just says poop, just in big, in all caps. It's like, wow. When me and Kara watched it for the last Deathiversary, we were like, yeah, I think this version might be poop, honey. The subtitles are, like, kind of off and, like, kind of mistranslated in some reason. There's, like, typos. There's, like, weird grammatical issues and stuff like that. You know, it was good. It was good for, like, 1 year before the DVD was out, and it was, like, fun to laugh at. But I wouldn't watch that again. And the other thing is, I saw some torrents out there for Planet of the Monsters. I guess you can rip things from Netflix now, which is cool. But I didn't bother getting it because, like, it was on Netflix, so I just don't. Like, it's on Netflix, and I know it's going to be on Netflix for at least the rest of this year and a good time afterwards, because It's gonna be until the third, the third one comes out, and all three of them will always be out up until they're released in another medium. So far as I know, there's no DVD for it yet. But anyway, so what we're talking about basically is a Blu-ray, because Shin Godzilla came with a Blu-ray DVD pack thing that they always do nowadays, which is the reason I have Blu-rays at all, to be perfectly honest, is because they sell them packaged with a DVD. I do not like Blu-rays. The menus are clunky and irritating, and they are extremely slow loading. It takes them fucking forever to load. There is no actual difference in quality. We're at the point now where the difference, the highest quality stuff is so high quality it has a better resolution than the human eye. And the thing about having a better resolution than the human eye is that the human eye is not going to know the difference. Dipshit, you're selling me on numbers and I can't actually see it. Like, I'm pretty sure we would have to have a TV 3 times as more expensive than this to even notice the difference of a goddamn Blu-ray from a DVD. And even then, I probably still wouldn't fucking notice it. Because my eye isn't super highly trained like some sort of gym specialist to see all the pixels, man. I'm not going to notice it. I'm never going to notice it, and I never have noticed the difference between a Blu-ray and another thing. You know what? To be perfectly fucking honest with you, I didn't notice the difference between the 8 gig Godzilla vs. Biollante and the 2 gig one. And the fucking DVD of the movie that I have. They all look good. None of them look bad. I don't understand the difference. So, like, there's that. And then there's utility in DVDs because they are playable in everything. We've got a PS2, which, barely works. We've got 2 computers. We've got a laptop. We can play DVDs anywhere, and it's flexible, and we can watch the movie how we choose to watch it. And that's really cool. And so basically what we do for movies is when we want it, we'll buy it. And then if we can't get a digital copy from the DVD, because, I can just rip them, then we'll torrent it. So we have... that way we have flexible versions of the movies we want to see. We have digital and DVD, which means we can just, we have choices. When you get a Blu-ray, we are forced into using this one specific thing on this one specific monitor if we don't want to fuck around with the cords. And then what? It's going to take forever to load. And then what's your reward for it? It's fucking nothing. It's literally no different than if I had the movie and played it on the computer on this monitor. Anyways, that's enough of a rant from me. Basically, what we did is we had Netflix, which is accessible from any computer on any screen. We have Godzilla Final Wars on DVD, and I didn't make a playlist also, so Shin Godzilla, our digital copy was out, right, because it was poop. Final Wars was also out, because I checked out the digital copy, and you know what? They dubbed over Gordon Fry. You can't dub over Angry Mustache. He's the best character. Everyone knows Gordon Fry's the best fucking character in the movie. Everyone, that's like universally acknowledged as Gordon Fry being the fucking shit, dude. And not the shit in the way that Shin Godzilla is poop either. Like the good shit though. He's so fucking badass and he steals the show from everyone and it's amazing. He's the best gaijin actor of all time, and that's just that. So I will not accept a movie where Gordon Fry is dubbed over. At the same time, I want to hear the fucking actual actors do their acting, not the dub actors. So, unlike the situation with Monster Zero, where I have not managed to find a version that someone has already made, where Nick Adams is speaking in English and the Japanese actors are speaking in Japanese, which means I'll have to make that version myself by just going in and editing the audio files. Or going in Vegas and like clipping the two audios and putting them together. But It's on the DVD. It's on the Sony DVD that's been out since like 2005, right? That's just the default language track of the DVD, which, like, fucking good on you, Sony. The other thing is, unlike the rest of the Sony releases, they don't have the custom title card, which, by the way, we found out isn't a subtitle. That's a custom title card that's, like, hard grained over the titles. And thank God we didn't have to watch that shit this year. I hate that. The titles for the Heisei era movies, Heisei era proper, meaning not part of the... No, not proper. What am I trying to say? Like the Heisei cycle, starting from Showa, 63 or something like that, all the way to Heisei, what is it? 14, 16? 16. So Heisei 16. And Shin Godzilla and all the animes are going to be released within the Heisei era, but we don't have the name for the next era yet. Those four movies are just like Godzilla 1984 was, and that they're within the previous era, but really you need to group them in with the next one for context. But anyways, man, that was a hell of a tangent. All of those movies from 1984 to Final Wars all have these explosive, awesome title cards, which are like the words, they're like 3D CGI words, and they pop out of you and they explode, and it's so exciting and cool and corny. It's like this wonderful corny's 90s 2000 thing that it's just a little thing about Godzilla movies that I love. It's the little things that are important, man. And the Sony DVDs really took all of that away from me, and it made me so sad. Because the late aughts ones, the aughts ones towards the end of the Millennium series are really just so Superfly, man. Like the one from Tokyo SOS, right? That one says Godzilla, Mothra comes on first, and then Godzilla, and then the kanji Kiryu, right? And then when they do the light, there's a method to all these things. There's an art of exploding 90s and 2000s Godzilla titles. There's the fly on, then there's the light, then there's the settle, right? There's a big explosion, which usually engulfs the whole screen in a bright light. In this case, once you hit the light, when you come back to the settle, then Kiryu has been turned into the katakana, name, Mechagodzilla. Which they never call him in that movie, which is weird. They do call him Mecha G in the subtitles of the Sony DVD, but that's not what they're saying. You can hear them saying Kiryu. So, of course, in my copy, which had dub titles, I went through and changed them all to Kiryu. Anyways. Oh boy. What the fuck was I talking about? Oh, I'm trying to get to this. Jesus. Okay. So we have to watch the Sony DVD of 28. We have to watch either the DVD or Blu-ray of 29. We have to watch the Netflix version of 30. So, here's my idea. We can't have two DVDs inside of our computer at the same time. We can't watch two movies on Kira's. We could watch two movies on my computer, but the sounds would be like bumping together because they would be playing out of the same TV, because I can't separate the sources and have the audio for one playing out of one TV and the audio of another one coming out of the second TV. So, our solution was to have Godzilla Planet of the Monsters 30 play on Kira's computer. Basically, we figured... I must have skipped a step. Because I don't think I mentioned the fact that we watched all three of them at the same goddamn time.
Yep, we did.
Yeah, 30 minutes in to get to the big reveal. What we did is we watched Attack of the Galactic Monsters beforehand, and for those of you who don't know, Attack of the Galactic Monsters is like a fan edit that is designed to look like an old Lost Godzilla movie, and they use a framing story that's taken from footage from War in Space, the second Gotengo movie, and they take the Godzilla fights from Zone Fighter, and they cut out Zone Fighter except for when he's fighting Godzilla, so it makes him look like he's another bad guy. And all the other monsters Godzilla fights on his own. So it looks like a secret, long-lost 70s Godzilla movie, that nobody knew about. And the story behind it is that it aired in Hawaii in 1983. This is, of course, not true at all. It's clearly a fan project made to, look like a lost, nostalgic thing. And when you watch it, when you're sober, that is exactly the effect it has. And it's very... this person was only working with footage from the movies, so it was kind of... Nobody ever says Godzilla's names on screen, basically. It's just like... It's like a fever dream, basically. It's like a lot of stuff that doesn't really go together, but you watch it, and you think it goes together because it makes about as much sense in your mind as they made when you were a kid, and you just wanted to fast forward to the monster parts. And that's basically what Attack of the Galactic Monsters is. It's just the monster parts edited together in like a 70-minute movie or something like that. It's really cool, and I always get a kick out of it. It's definitely interesting. There's another one. There are a pair of these floating around, and there's another one, and I've never been able to find it. I think it's called Monster King Godzilla or something like that. And what that one does is it takes footage from the 70s, the Champion Festival Godzilla movies, and uses Espy as a framing story. That one doesn't really interest me, though, because it's if you saw that as a kid, you would recognize that as just being clips from other Godzilla movies, right? I mean, there's a chance you would think of it as like the Godzilla version of Super Monster Gamera, but like Godzilla's Revenge is already the Godzilla version of Super Monster Gamera. Are you seriously falling asleep? Is that how fucking boring I am?
No, you're not boring. I'm just tired.
Did I wake you up too early?
No, a little bit.
God damn it.
It's okay, I've got energy drinks.
Well, anyway, so we watched that, and that was a trip. That's a trip while sober, but man, that was a fun trip when we were high. And we discovered that the name of the movie was Attack of the Godzilla Movies.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
That's the official Cutopianese name of it. Is it just Cutopian, or is it Cutopianese?
Let's make it Cutopianese.
Yeah. Because Cutopianese is basically English, but way cuter.
Mm-hmm.
And with a smattering of weeaboo Japanese, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
So anyways, we did that. That was fun. And so we got that one out of the way because I didn't want to watch it in between any of the movies. Basically, the idea from the beginning was, and I know I've said this lots of times in Deathiversary stuff before, I want to go from Final Wars to the next one, to Shin Godzilla, as if those 12 years in between them simply never existed. Because if on Danny's old tape, I used to have, it was Monster Zero, then Mechagodzilla, then Terror of Mechagodzilla, and then Godzilla 1985. And on that tape, you watch Terror of Mechagodzilla and Godzilla wades into the sea, and it feels like, it's kind of the end, and there's no more Godzilla. But then, boom, a couple of commercials and a cartoon later, brand new Godzilla. And to me, that was always like a little tonally inconsistent. Nowadays, when I watch Terror of Mechagodzilla in 85 or 84, or either one really, back to back, it's like I can see it, you know what I mean? I can see that they're both Teruyushi Nakano movies more than Godzilla 85 is a versus movie, you know what I mean? Because it's not even in the Heisei Perfection book, because it's not a Heisei movie, it's not a versus movie. The only thing is it's in continuity with the other ones, and it marks like a fresh start, but like it also kind of stands on its own, separate from the others, even more than Biollante does, because Biollante is more a part of the 90s movies than it isn't. Anyways. But, they're all Godzilla movies, and no matter how long it is later, the gap eventually gets closed. And then when you look back on it in hindsight, it's like, that was that, then there was a gap, and then this movie's was that. And then if you take it out of context, it's just like the 28th Godzilla movie, and thank God, the 29th Godzilla movie. And thinking about them in that way is extremely therapeutic for me. It helps me to do that. So today, I didn't want to put anything in between them, including Godzilla in Hell, which I wanted to read at night when it's dark and spooky with the red light on, listening to that Nocturnal Emissions album and some spooky, creepy musics and stuff, and just, man, just like go full on creepy, get super high out of my goddamn mind, and just have my face glued to Godzilla in Hell, which would be one hell of an experience. But I didn't end up doing that. What we did instead is we played Shin Godzilla on the Blu-ray, which was on this main monitor of mine, my giant main one. We played Godzilla Final Wars as a DVD in my computer, which we played on my other monitor, because I have two monitors. Then we played Godzilla Planet of the Monsters on Netflix on Kira's computer. We bent the monitors to make a salient, and then we watched the 28th, the 29th, and the 30th Godzilla movie all at the same time, while I was super high. It was amazing. It was a little bit... I thought I would have more of like a high reaction, like when it first happened, that it would be like, oh man, it's like all around me, right? But that actually took a little bit to sink in. The reason was, Planet of the Monsters was really quiet because Kira really needs better speakers. I don't know what the situation is with her speakers but they're like, fuck, dude. So at first, then she went to the car and got her thing, our stereo, our car stereo, essentially, because her stereo doesn't work anymore in the car. But it's a little portable speaker thing that gets really loud. You know, It's great, especially for up here, when you can crank up the computer noises. It's good stuff. So it started out not as much of a whoa moment as I thought, but it definitely got there. I really felt like I was in the middle of something way bigger than just a single Godzilla movie, because I literally was. And Kira, who was sober, the thing is, Kira is basically high all the time anyways. She's like so far gone. She's like, Kira is like either previous level or next level, depending on how you think about it. She's like always in another time zone, man. She's so radical, man. She was such a radical babe.
That's true.
It's true. It's true. When I'm high, I always think that you're getting like a contact high off of me, even though I don't smoke. And every time I do smoke, we go outside. So there's like no way I could hotbox you. I'm eating gummies, but like I still feel that way. And when I'm sober, I don't think it as much, but I just think everything you do is really silly and wonderful and cute. And I've come to realize now, since being high for a week, that the stuff you do that I think is silly and cute and fun is the thing that makes me think you're high when I'm sober.
I see.
So that's how it works. So it's not you being any different. That's just how you are, which is pretty great. And, yeah, so that movie and all three of those movies were released at the same time together in super duper ultra mega widescreen format in, of course, our country of Utopia, which we are the Queen Mayors of. And it is called Godzilla X-05, The Times of Follies. It's the time we did what we wanted. No, that's a line from the movie. The name of the movie, which is all three of these movies all in a row, specifically, in the middle, we're going from right to left. So on the far right side is Final Wars, in the middle is Shin Godzilla, and the far left side is Planet of the Monsters. And that's the way they're arranged because that's important. It's important to the themes of the film and the way that the film tells their story. Now, you may know that people will make meaning out of chaos because it's our nature to do so. So, you're probably thinking, wait, maybe you're thinking that playing 3 Godzilla movies at once is just chaos. But having gone through the experience, my high brain and Kira's sober brain went through all three of those movies at the same time, and you know what? It makes sense, and it tells a cohesive story.
Mm-hmm. It does.
It does. And it's really about three different timelines and how different choices can alter your own fate. And throughout the experience, we compared what was happening simultaneously in each of the universes. And it really demonstrates the differences between them, the commonalities between them, and how the actions have affected their world in opposite directions. And it was really, really interesting. And by the way, I'm sober right now. So, like, yeah, this shit holds up. Basically what we figured is, you know, there's that old legend, right? That old story about the old wise man, right? And he had 3 kids, and he died, and he was reincarnated as each one of his kids, but his kid was in a different timeline, right? So the wise man got to live 3 lives. Each of those, basically the dude was killed by Godzilla, right? They changed the name of it because it's like a, you know, like a pot. What am I thinking of? Public domain story, right? They changed the name of it, but it's Godzilla. So the old man was killed Godzilla, and he has 3 reactions to it. He has 3 reactions to the god of destruction. And he lives each new life in each different world. And they are in sequence, by the way. They are in sequence from Planet of the Monsters to Shin Godzilla to Final Wars, past, present, and future. In one, he chose sorrow, and in one he chose fear, and in another he chose anger. So the man who chose fear was Yaguchi, right, from Shin Godzilla, living in the present. And basically his reaction to Godzilla is to not be hasty, to not be bombastic, to take situations seriously and understand the past and, like, how bad we fucked up. And that's where you get, like, this great thing that Shin Godzilla has, which is, like, perspective. That's one of the coolest things about Shin Godzilla, is how great perspective is, and it's a lot of the main character. And, you know, it's a lot of the other characters, too. They have different perspectives. And they're very politically relevant perspectives to their situation of being a politician in modern day Japan, right? But Yaguchi's perspective is a little bit bigger because he's looking at the situation from, like, he's not underestimating, essentially. He always assumes the worst, and he wants to prepare for the worst because he that's the fun thing about it. Like, he's altruistic, right? Like, all he wants to do is protect people from a natural disaster, or an unnatural disaster, as you interpret it. But, like, his motivations are purely political. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, he does it, but he's fucking power gaming. You know what I mean? Like, he's playing it to win it. And, you know, at the end of the day, he's not being disingenuous, but he does his stuff for the right reasons, and then he's like, cool, I'm going to parlay this into my political career. And he knows that too. But the reason he does that, right, is because, like, he's using his political career to fucking do things the way they're intended, right?
Yeah.
There's a big focus on this movie about Japan having kind of this disposable past, right? The scrap and build country. They live through their disasters, which is, by and large, pretty much the whole basis of the Godzilla series, you know? Once you get past optimistic Honda in the hero times of the 70s, you get back to 84 and Biollante, and it's right back to that good old pessimistic, cynical Godzilla that we all know and love, you know? Mm-hmm. And then you go another 30 years, and what do we get? The same thing, you know? We have the second Cold War Godzilla, and we have the 311 Godzilla. The 311 Godzilla that takes place in a Japan that's trying to remilitarize and stuff like this. And it's just, the movie is so fucking charged, you know what I mean? Like, when I, in the aughts, when I was in the aughts in the 90s, when I was watching new Godzilla movies, I was just a kid. I didn't understand, like, the broader economic and political themes going on. Like, I did when I watched them now. I do when I watch them now, and they're like, it's really kind of amazing how prescient Godzilla is up to, like, the very, very end, you know, excepting for things like Final Wars, which are, you know, Final Wars is very much a 70s Godzilla movie that pays lip service to the greater themes of the franchise, but, like, doesn't actually care about it. You know what I mean? Like, it wears, you know, war is bad as a hat. It doesn't actually believe war is bad. It just wants to be a fun Godzilla movie, right? But anyways, I'm just talking about Shin Godzilla again. You know, Shin Godzilla is a really fucking good movie, and I don't think people overrate it. I do not think it's overrated in the slightest. I really do think it's up there. I don't know if I love it more. I definitely don't like it more than Biollante. I don't think I like... The problem is the writing is so goddamn good, and the cinematography is so goddamn good. But the special effects are, you know, they're mostly CGI, and they're CGI. Like, they definitely are CGI. The few moments where you have close-ups, like neck up shots of, like, the puppets and shit, are great. They look good, but, like, they don't have scale in the movie, you know? I don't know. I think they filmed it against a blue screen or something like that, but all you ever see of it in the movie is from the bottom up, you know? The low angle. So it's like, it kind of tears that out. But it's like, it's really pretty, it's really good, it's unbelievably well written. But, like, there's little problems with the production. It's a little slow. You know, it's not as entertaining of a movie to watch like Biollante is. Or Hedorah, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. The other thing is like, I'm, like, trying not to rush it, you know? Trying not to jump the gun and, you know, just because it's new, say it's the best thing in the world. But it's been almost 2 years since it's been out, you know? And, god damn, it's such a good movie. It still is. And I don't know, maybe it's... The reason I lean to Tokyo SOS being better than Shin Godzilla is because it's super close to home. Like, the stuff about living life within the time nature allows and, like, respecting the dead and respecting the ghost of Godzilla and shit like that. That is so... That's so, like, me. You know what I mean? Tokyo SOS is such a fucking Tracy Godzilla movie. Like, and it's just... I don't know. How do I put Shin Godzilla above that, right? Because Shin Godzilla is it's a little bit cynical, but the cool thing about Godzilla is that as cynical as it is, it comes out on the other side, and Yaguchi, who, again, is the son who lived in fear, right? He comes out on the other side, and it's like the worst, man. It's like 311 times a million, dude. It's bad. And he comes out on the other side, and he has a great political career, and fucking Tokyo is saved. You know what I mean? And there's all this fucking good news. The ambient radiation that Godzilla lets off has a half-life of 1 to 2 years. You know, which is something I've always worried about in Godzilla movie. It's like, sure, they're going to rebuild the city, but doesn't he turn that place into a radioactive graveyard? I've always wondered about that, and now we have, like, a clear-cut answer. It is dangerous, but it's mostly safe, and it goes away fast, right?
Yeah.
So you take a year to rebuild the city, boom, next Godzilla movie comes out, everything's ready to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's next Godzilla movie proof, right? Like, a year or two. So maybe he doesn't come back to the same city in the next movie. Maybe in the one after that, right? And the cool thing about Shin Godzilla is that I know when Anno was writing that, that's exactly what he was thinking. Right? He was thinking the half-life of Godzilla's radiation has to be exactly enough so that they have time to rebuild the city and get clean before he comes back for the next Godzilla movie. Right? That's exactly what he was thinking, man. And I love that I can know that about him without having to, like, read an interview, you know? Because it's so obvious. Like, it leaks through his intentions. And, like, the way that he does things and the way that he writes Godzilla movies, which is really good. Anyways... So, of course I'm going to rant about Shin Godzilla. Also, it's new, and I haven't ranted about it for, like, 8 fucking Deathiversaries yet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I have that's the cool thing about new Godzilla movies. I've all these Deathiversaries that I've done for the past 28 movies. I've done them to death. There is almost nothing new I can say about them. But Shin Godzilla and Planet of the Monsters, I can go on about forever. And really, I think I don't want to say too much about them because I want to save as much as I can for future Deathiversaries. I haven't said shit about Planet of the Monsters yet, and I got a lot to say about that movie, man. I really do. That's a heavy movie, and like for reasons totally removed from Shin Godzilla. Like it's a completely new, different, heavy set of Godzilla movie things, and they're like great new ideas too. And I haven't even touched on them, and I have less than 10 minutes left. So basically, the son who chose anger was Ozaki, right? His anger resolves that conflict in the film because he destroys the aliens with his anger, right? That timeline, the clear underlining motivation is violence and fighting. All throughout Final Wars, every problem is solved with violence and anger and fighting. And then at the end, the guy who is defined by his anger to the point where he's controlled by the Exians, right? To use his anger as a weapon without any concern, he gets beaten, and he doesn't understand kindness. He literally doesn't understand kindness. So when he goes and uses his anger as a good thing, it shows that anger can be motivated into bad things and hatred, but you can use anger to solve conflicts that arise from, man versus man, essentially. So, and it ends up being a good thing in the long run. Or not a good thing, it's just good or bad, that's how they solve the problem, that's how they found a resolution in that world line. Planet of the Monsters, however, I use sorrow, and that's part of a trilogy, right? So we don't know the end of it. So I said that Metphies was the one who solved things with sadness. Ru is sad and everything, but he's mostly angry. Metphies seems genuinely disheartened by everything. Mm-hmm. He's trying to work with the humans and with the Bilsards, but he's sad he couldn't conquer Earth. He's fucking sad about leaving the planet he wanted to conquer. He's happy about coming back. He's sad that he knows the humans can't do it. And then I am 100% convinced that Metphies has other motivations. I am 100% certain he's gonna be the bad guy in the 32nd Godzilla movie. I'm telling you, man. He's gonna be the bad guy. He's gonna call a space monster down. King Ghidorah, maybe. I would love to see Godzilla versus Mothra versus Mechagodzilla versus King Ghidorah. I know how corny and stupid that sounds. I know that sounds like the Lost 2005 Toho Godzilla movie. I know it sounds bad. But we've never seen King Ghidorah and Mechagodzilla together in a movie before. And I know that's such a dumb, obvious, nerdy thing to think. But because it is so obvious, because it is such a cool idea, I think we gotta see it. We gotta see King Ghidorah and Mechagodzilla on screen together. It shouldn't take 32 movies in. It just feels like this obvious thing that should have been done that simply hasn't been done yet. And I don't really understand why. But yeah, so that's my guess. So we don't really know his resolution. It doesn't really get resolved. In the context of this film, which is the 3 films all screened simultaneously, in the timeline where they chose sorrow, they gave up and died. And Godzilla Prime killed all those motherfuckers, and that was the end of it. Right? He shows up at the end, and there's a lot of parallels with things. You'll be able to see them, or I'll explain them when I upload the notes. But, like, basically, there's parallels in fucking, like, that one ends. That's like the end water ending of Silent Hill 2. Spoiler alert, Carrie, you might want to close your ears. Mm-hmm. They chose suicide, man. They died. Their sadness led them to death. Where their anger led them to resolution and winning a fight, a conflict of violence. Their anger helped them. Sadness and a conflict of violence and a conflict of colonization, they lost. They just lost. It was the end. They couldn't do it. Meanwhile, in fear leads to respect and wanting to know more about it. Fear leads to, like, curiosity, when you're afraid of something, you want to know how to protect yourself from it. And you try, it ends up that fear is the smartest response to something that's a threat. So in the end, one person wanted revenge, one person wanted to give up, but the one that really balanced it, the one that ended up with the best possible resolution to the conflict was fear, was respecting the monster and what the monster was capable. There's no more spoilers, honey. And respecting what the monster was capable of, rather than a gut emotional reaction. It's more of an intellectual. You know what I mean? I'm talking about this movie, this fake utopian release of the movie, which is a fun joke and an in-joke that we have between us, as the movie, not only because it's actually how we watched it, but because, to be perfectly honest, it draws a lot of extra meaning out of these movies that I didn't see before. And all you need is one dumb little made-up frame story, and oh my god, you learn so much about, people, and, the way they interact with things, and, situations beyond their control, and how much it has to do with our reactions more than it does the actual thing that's happening. Mm-hmm. It's I learned so much from this one stupid idea I got when I was high, and it was so enjoyable and so amazing. And I highly recommend that for anyone out there with 3 monitors and the ability to do this, watch all 3 of these movies at the same time while high. You will be amazed. And I do say while high because if you watch them sober and you're not Kara, you're probably just going to think it's a confusing mess. When we got the car speaker in here, we had all 3 of them playing at full volume. And it made sense to me. That's all I got to say. It made sense to me. It was a funny, stupid idea I had as a joke. And I did it, and I really enjoyed it. And you know what? 2 hours later, Deathiversary, the Sad Deathnight, May 16th is over. And that was how I ended it this year. And we really went out with a bang. And that bang, all 3 of them once, you can't get any closer to watching Final Wars and Shin Godzilla at the same time, right? That big bang, that was the end of the fireworks display, right? Gotta go out big. And that really felt final. It had a finality to me. And it wrapped up the first time in history that from May 9th to May the 16th of any given year, I have been, since 2014, I have been happy and genuinely enjoyed myself and the experience the entire way through, and I felt it was worth it, and I don't regret anything. And I don't regret anything. I don't even regret those past 4 years, man. Because as shitty as they were, to get to where I am right now, man, that was worth it. And fuck Geno 2. Fuck Geno 2. Who needs it? Who needs to dwell on it? The thing is, let him have it. And you know what? I kind of love Geno 2 now because Geno 2 takes the idiots away from Godzilla and leaves me and the other people who give a shit who don't think Shin Godzilla is worse than Geno 1, because who the fuck would... That's insane. That is literally insane. It leaves the people like me. There are Godzilla movies. Toho's gonna make one every year or so, We're back to regular Godzillas. And those people can have it. And you know what? Bless you, Geno 2. Bless you. Have fun. Do your thing. Just whatever. Live and let live, Because I got my Godzilla back. And I'm happy. And I got Kira and I got Dylan. And it's just, I'm not finding myself for want of anything anymore. I don't, I got little things to be sad about like we all do, but I feel closure this year. I feel actual closure over Geno 2. And I'm ready to let it go. I mean, I still hate it with my fucking guts. So now, having said that, I need to tell you within 30 seconds very quickly that it is not over. Deathiversary is not over, because I'm going to watch Geno 1 and the Geno 1 cartoon and Geno 2 today, and I'm going to be so fucking high, dude, and I'm going to eat Taco Bell all goddamn day. So there will be another video tomorrow with Mechagodzilla spoilers in it, and oh my god, these movies are going to suck, and I'm going to be so high when I'm watching them. All right, so take care, everyone, and bye.